Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Right.
Anybody who watches or follows football knows that
Whoa.
Travis Kelce is a star-stud football player.
Right.
But it's so many more people know who he is now because of the Taylor Swift relationship.
But it goes both
I'm
ways.
not saying nothing against Travis. I'm just saying a lot of times men can be great at what they're doing, particularly athletes, but it's the woman they get with that puts them on the map.
Yo, this is the Inflection Collective. All of us are connected, reflective, real life perspective, respected. The banter, the chit chat, no cap is big facts, so kick back. This here is done there, been there.
Will Ime Udoka ever be known for anything besides breaking Nia Long's heart, even if he breaks records as a head coach and wins championships in his league?
Okay, I have a couple of answers for you. Most of us didn't know Ime until he got fired for cheating on Nia. Who is this man? I do not know this man. Start there. Okay. Number two, most men, even if they are considered high profile, are mostly known for who they date or who they marry, because women are ultimately the prize. I said it. You have it recorded. Also, Ann, even when men are caught for bad behavior, they are very rarely held accountable for their bad behavior. What society does is then points at the woman that the bad behavior was done to, and they're talking about her. And it's like, wait, I didn't do anything in this story. Talk about him. Learn how to pronounce his name. Nia Long is also easier to pronounce. I also think that's another reason why it's trends instead of Ime.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you finish. Hold on a second. But do you realize who you're talking to right now? I mean, I don't know if you heard about me, but I don't know who you remember me being married to. I was in a high profile relationship with somebody.
And can I say something about you, friend? Okay. When you were in that high profile relationship, I don't feel you did yourself any favors when you were on the show surrounded by a bunch of women who are your friends.
Hold on, don't put that in quotes. They were friends. Go ahead. Friends.
We're all friends. We're all friends, no matter how we start.
Okay. Aren't you a friend? A pretty friend?
I'm not a friend. No, I'm not a friend. I'm a friend.
What? You're a friend.
No air quotes needed.
That's what I'm saying. Well, they were the same. They were friends. Go ahead. Finish.
Allegedly.
I'm sorry.
Allegedly.
Oh, wow.
And so when you put yourself in a room full of alleged friends discussing how you really ain't never been a great dude in a relationship, it's hard for the public to then not think that you were the bad guy in the relationship. By your own admission, you said you've matured, you've grown. We don't know the details, and we don't need to know the details, but you have to understand in that situation, that particular scenario with you, I think you set yourself up for an ultimate L.
Okay.
So when you got divorced, everybody's like, oh, I'm not surprised. And everybody rolled the footage, that beautiful bean footage from the kitchen scene and said, oh, we knew that wasn't going to work out. And I think that's on you.
No, you know what? I will take some of the responsibility. I'll take accountability. Some women can't do, but I will do that. So I'm just saying. And when I'm
wrong, you posted that video on your Instagram.
I'm just saying. Like, you ain't never gonna say you're sorry. You're never gonna take accountability. That's okay. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you. But I will take accountability for my transgressions. Once again, I wrote a whole damn book about my transgressions in my past, about who I used to be and the person that I was becoming. When I was in that scene on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, there was a reason why I was surrounded by nothing but a lot of women, because guess what? My homeboys didn't want to be on that damn camera, being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. They didn't want to be a part of that mess. I had to be a part of the mess because I was involved in a relationship with somebody that was on the show, and I had to support my woman, and that was going on. So when everything went down, because I've talked about the things in my past, about my transgressions, I like to call them sometimes, or my actual cheating. I'll just put it out there like that. In the past,
thank you so much.
in the past, and talked about how I've grown up. And the reason I wrote the book was to talk about how I've grown up, and I've realized some of the mistakes I've made in my life. Then I moved on, and I was finally in a place where I was mature enough to be married again to a woman who was a queen. I could treat her like a queen because I feel like I have finally become a king. So I can understand how some people can view things. But once again, when it comes to Ime Udoka or whatever, we don't know the whole extent of the situation with Nia Long. We know what was put out there in public. But once again, when it comes to how I feel about this with this situation, it's like I feel like this man has paid the price publicly. He's been dragged by multitudes of women and some men out there who thinks he's a fool for fumbling the ball or the bag or whatever they always want to say. And now, even to this day, I can put something on Twitter, and I've been divorced for a year, and I can put something on Twitter and somebody will always try and come back with that little zinger, or let me just throw a little, oh, that's the reason why you ain't with CB now. I'm like, I ain't talked about her ass in a year. We ain't even discussing this. Why? What's that got to do with anything? So when it comes to the Ime Udoka situation, I wish people would just move on from talking about that and allow this man to coach and live his life.
I see why you would want that. But again, the only reason why Ime would be discussed at all, he's been a great coach for some years. We weren't talking about him. It's the same thing if you want to say Keke Palmer's ex or former. The only reason we know that man exists is because she had, I guess, community service hours to do and had a baby with him. I don't know. So a lot of these men don't realize you're not shining because of your light. You are borrowing the light of a woman. And so when it goes down and you have mistreated this woman, yes, the smoke is going to come down for you. Hellfire shall be upon you. Rightfully so.
What the hell did I sign up for? Is this episode 1? What the hell did I sign up? This was my homework. Now, hold on. Let me address that, because that you kind of triggered me, and I'm going through therapy right now. So please help me. I'm trying to help myself. I'm trying to overcome all these things.
Breathe through it. Breathe through it.
When you say, so you just talked about my accolades. You talked about the things I've been through. You were
amazing. No, I was talking about Ime. I wasn't talking about you taking your situation. Wasn't that you were borrowing shine? I was talking about Ime and Keke Palmer. I wasn't using you as an example for the shine.
So I will address Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka had a nice NBA career. Anybody that follows the NBA would know that Ime Udoka, while he wasn't a star, while he wasn't an all-star, he was a very serviceable player who had a really nice NBA career. He was a player. Anybody who watched the NBA would know that. As a coach, he turned the Boston Celtics and helped them become a contender in the Eastern Conference. They were going to have a phenomenal season. He was going to take them to the NBA Finals and maybe even the championships last year, had he been the coach there last year. And with the Houston Rockets, a team that has been terrible for years, he has them competing at a high level, which shows what kind of coach he is. So yes, just because...
And he never trended before he cheated on Nia Long and Sing.
But okay, I get that. But that's in the entertainment or pop culture world. It doesn't mean that this man didn't exist.
I'm saying overall. Another current example that's going on right now. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Anybody who watches or follows football knows that Travis Kelce is a stud football player.
Right.
But it's so many more people know who he is now because of the Taylor Swift relationship.
But it goes both ways.
I'm not saying nothing against Travis. I'm just saying a lot of times men can be great at what they're doing, particularly athletes, but it's the woman they get with that puts them on the map. You see Tiana Taylor and Iman Schubert. He was a NBA player, rich in his own right, but in her own divorce filing, he had a problem with people being more excited about her. He only had a reality show because he was with her.
Now, I will say,
the proof is in the pudding.
I will say that as a person who marries a celebrity who has more of a following, you have to be very secure in who you are, because a lot of people will come for you. I have seen on my page where a lot of people have said, I never heard of him before he was with Cynthia. Well, you probably never watched sports before, because a lot of people in the sports world had never heard of Cynthia before I got with her. So I've seen where men have had arguments or whatnot, and with their wives or whatever, like, oh, that's Cynthia's husband. No, that's Mike Hill. That's the guy that's on Sports Center, ESPN, and Fox or whatever. Oh, is he married to somebody?
We're saying the same thing, Mike.
What I'm saying, we can't.
But we're saying the same thing.
There's no argument, because I don't argue anymore.
We're saying the same thing.
The generalization of just because a woman is in a high profile situation and a man is in a high profile situation does not mean that that man never existed before. It just means that the people who followed that woman probably did not experience the world in which that man lived in, and vice versa.
Which therefore that person never existed before to that person. And we're talking about the audience. We're talking about the people on social media. We're talking about the people who have Ime trending could care less about his basketball accolades.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying he had a lot going on. We didn't care.
Okay. So prime example. And speaking of prime, look at that segue. I'm such a professional. Prime example. Prime, just bro, and shout out to, because I love both of them. Deion Sanders and Tracy Edmonds. Two of them, they've been together for 10 years, were engaged for, I think, 4 years. And they just announced their breakup over the weekend on Twitter. And we wish them well, and Instagram. But two powerhouses. A lot of people know who Tracy Edmonds is, but a lot of people know Prime did not know Tracy. But the people who know Tracy Edmonds, they probably heard of Prime, but if they didn't follow sports that closely, maybe they did not know who he was. So once again,
I also think this is not. But I think both of them have had their own names. And sometimes, let's say a Jay-Z and Beyonce. Sometimes two powerhouses get together. So it's not a matter of who didn't know whom and who brought whose audience to cross over. I think with Prime and Tracy, we came to know her as Tracy Edmonds when she married Babyface, and then she was with Eddie Murphy, and then so she's always had high-profile relationships beyond the fact that she's an executive producer and creator and in the industry. And then, of course, we've all known Deion. So I think that's not really the same case at all, because we already knew these two people by the time they got together. They both were very common, well-known entities and names. And I don't think their breakup is a surprise at all, because I think between him being in Jackson, Mississippi to Colorado, Tracy ain't there. She's somewhere working and doing what she's doing, which ain't in Jackson, which ain't in Colorado.
Oh,
I think it just ran its course.
Yeah, just somebody sounds like they're a little bitter. I'm just saying, like, you're not surprised.
I said it ran its course. What am I bitter about? I said it ran its course. I didn't. No one to blame.
She was like,
how is that bitter?
You said it with a smile on your face.
They're both pursuing their own lives at a very high level, and sometimes it just means, hey, we've run our course. There is nothing bitter about that.
Sounds like somebody said it with a smile.
Wow, you really don't hear. Oh my God. No, I didn't say I saw this coming. I said it sounds like it ran its course, and they are two people who are pursuing their careers at a very high level. So sometimes that means you're not going to be able to do it together. They love each other. They respect each other. They had a good run. There's nothing to be bitter about. It ain't none of our business. Start there. But I think they had a very amicable breakup. I think they've probably been separated for a while. Tracy has built a house in South Carolina. I feel like she probably has found some farmer and she's going out to pasture.
Hold on. Like she's moved
on a farm.
Let me ask you a question to that extent. Like, if somebody is a mutual friend of them, but like they not that close, you know what I'm saying? I'm just asking for somebody, like, I'm just a hypothetical.
Wait a minute. Are you thinking about shooting a shot at any one of the parties of any of the relationships we have mentioned today?
No, absolutely. What? Me? Yeah, come on, man. I'm a change man. Would I do that as long as you know
That's
me?
what I'm asking. No, the question is, you were asking me, would you do that? You're asking me, would it be okay if you did that?
I'm asking for a friend because I know somebody who knows both of them. And actually, this person is a woman. See, why you going there? This person is a woman, and she knows both of them. And she likes Prime. She's always been a huge fan of Prime. So I'm asking if.
And so you're saying you're asking for your friend. What would you advise your friend? Would you say, yeah, shoot your shot?
I'm like, it depends on how close she is to Tracy. If there are friends who pass by and they're associates and not necessarily friends, I think it's okay.
Yo, this is the Inflection Collective. All of us are connected, reflective, real life perspective, respected. The banter, the chit chat, no cap is big facts, so kick back. This here is done there, been there.